If you travel by train at night, then after hearing tonight's story, you may never have the courage to stand alone at a railway station after midnight again. Because in America, there's a terrifying legend about a train that has appeared at midnight for the last 20 years. A train where the passengers are not human, and they say, whoever boards that train never comes back. The name of that train is Train Number 666. The year was 2006. In the state of Nevada, America, there was a small town called Raven Creek. Surrounded by dry forests and mountains, Raven Creek used to be a lively and famous town. But on the night of October 17th, 2006, everything changed forever. At exactly 11:47 p.m., train number 666 departed from Raven Creek Station. There were 143 passengers on board, families, children, soldiers, students, and several railway staff members. But that night, the train never reached its destination. As soon as it entered an old tunnel along the route, the train vanished from radar. When the rescue teams arrived, the tracks were completely empty. No train, no bodies, no blood. Nothing. It was as if the entire train had disappeared into thin air. One of America's biggest investigations began. Even the FBI got involved. But months passed, and no clue was ever found. Slowly, people stopped using that railway route, and eventually Raven Creek became a ghost town. But the truly horrifying part started after that, because some people claimed that every year, on the same date, after midnight, the same train appears again. The year was 2026. In Los Angeles, a 25-year-old horror YouTuber named Ethan Cole had become famous across America. His channel had millions of subscribers, and he explored haunted places. His videos featured abandoned hospitals, cursed hotels, and haunted forests. But over the last few months, his views had started dropping. People wanted something new. One night during a live stream, a comment suddenly appeared. If you're really not afraid, go find train number 666. 9. Soon, thousands of comments flooded the chat. Go to Raven Creek. Show us the ghost train. Only then we'll know you're not fake. Ethan smiled. To him, it sounded like just another internet myth. But for views, he accepted the challenge. His girlfriend Mia became nervous. Ethan, this isn't funny. People online say terrifying things about that place. But Ethan laughed. There's no such thing as ghosts. This is just perfect content. The next day, he left for Nevada. He had absolutely no idea that this would become the final journey of his life. At around 7 p.m., Ethan arrived in Raven Creek. The entire town looked dead. Broken roads, closed stores, rusty signboards, and an unnatural silence filled the area. It felt as if no human had lived there for years. Ethan turned on his camera. Guys, right now I'm standing in America's most haunted town, Raven Creek. Suddenly the wind grew stronger. In the distance, a train whistle echoed through the darkness. Ethan froze. He looked around, but there wasn't even an active railway line nearby. Then a deep voice spoke behind him. You shouldn't have come here. Ethan turned around. An old man stood in the shadows. He wore a long black coat and had a white beard and terrified eyes. Who are you? Ethan asked. Walter, the man replied. I'm the last man still living in this town. Walter slowly stepped closer to Ethan. If you don't leave before tonight, they'll take you too. Ethan laughed nervously. Who? Walter's eyes trembled. Then, in a whisper, he said, The passengers. Walter led Ethan into the old railway station. The station was completely ruined. Old posters covered the walls, and some of them showed pictures of missing people. even small children. With a trembling voice, Walter said, "My wife and daughter were on that train 20 years ago, and after that night, I never saw them again." Ethan became serious. "The police never found anything?" Walter laughed softly, but there was pain in his laughter. "They searched the whole world, but train number 666 no longer belongs to this world." Suddenly, the station lights started flickering. A freezing wind rushed through the building, and once again, that train whistle echoed in the distance. Walter's face turned pale. "No, it's coming back tonight." At 11:58 p.m., Ethan started his livestream. The number of viewers began rising rapidly. Comments flooded the screen. "Bro, this place feels cursed. Don't stay there. If you see the train run." Ethan stood on the platform with his camera. The station was drowning in darkness, and only his flashlight was on. Then suddenly, the tracks began to shake. Slowly, through the thick fog, a black train appeared. An old steam engine with red numbers painted across the front. 666. The train slowly stopped at the platform. But the most terrifying part was this. The people inside the windows were completely motionless. Their faces were pale. Their eyes were empty, like dead bodies sitting upright. The smile disappeared from Ethan's face. He zoomed the camera in, and suddenly, every passenger turned and looked directly at him. The livestream chat exploded. "Oh my God! They saw you! Run, Ethan, run!" Then the train door slowly creaked open. Dark smoke drifted out from inside, and a low voice whispered, "Come aboard." Ethan stepped inside the train carefully. The moment he entered, the doors slammed shut on their own, and the train started moving. "Wait!" Ethan shouted. He looked through the window and saw Walter standing on the platform, screaming desperately, "Don't look them in the eyes!" Then the station disappeared. Outside the windows, there was nothing except endless darkness. Inside, the entire coach felt freezing cold. The passengers sat in complete silence. None of them even blinked. Then, a little girl slowly turned toward Ethan. Half of her face was burned. She smiled. "Are you dead, too?" Ethan's throat went dry. "What?" The little girl whispered. "This train is only for dead people." And suddenly, the entire coach shook violently. Ethan ran into the next coach. But the sight there was even worse. Passengers sat in their seats with burned flesh hanging from their bodies. Some had no faces. Some had empty eye sockets. One man's neck hung at a broken angle. Slowly, he turned toward Ethan. Crack. The sound of bones echoed through the coach. "You're not supposed to be here." Suddenly, every passenger stood up together at the same time. Slowly, they began walking toward him. Ethan backed away in terror. Then he noticed a locked cabin at the end of the coach. He ran inside and slammed the door shut. Immediately, loud banging erupted outside. Bang, bang, bang! Then whispers came through the door. "Join us!" Ethan trembled in fear. He picked up his camera, but the screen showed nothing except static. Then, through the static, words slowly appeared. "Next stop, hell. If you want to stay alive, stay quiet." A voice suddenly came from the dark corner of the cabin. Ethan spun around in fear. An old conductor sat there silently. He wore a black uniform and had white eyes. But unlike the others, he didn't look like a ghost. "Who are you?" Ethan asked. The conductor spoke softly. "I was the conductor of this train. That night." His voice trembled. "We didn't die in an accident. We ended up somewhere else." Ethan's breathing stopped. "What do you mean?" The conductor stared toward the window. "There's something inside that tunnel. Something that pulls human souls out of this world. And now, He slowly looked at Ethan. "The train has chosen you." Suddenly, the train began slowing down. Outside the window, a massive dark tunnel appeared. Screams echoed from deep inside it. The passengers suddenly began laughing like maniacs. Their eyes turned black. Their skin started melting. And the entire coach filled with the stench of decay. Ethan screamed. The train entered the tunnel. Everything went dark. Then, someone whispered beside his ear, "You will never leave now." Chapter 10. The end of the line. The lights came back on, but outside, this was no longer America. The sky was blood red. The ground looked burned. Dark shadows moved everywhere, and in the distance, thousands of people were screaming. The passengers slowly gathered around Ethan, their faces melting, all of them chanting together, "One of us! One of us!" Ethan ran. But there was no exit anywhere on the train. Then suddenly, his live stream turned back on. People all over the world were watching him. Ethan screamed into the camera, "Don't ever look for train number 666. If you hear the whistle, run." Then the screen went black. The live stream ended, and Ethan was never seen again. Epilogue. 3 months later, a truck driver claimed he saw the same black train near a Nevada highway at midnight. He said inside one of the windows sat a young man holding a camera. His eyes were completely black, and stitched onto his coat was the name, Ethan Cole. If you enjoyed this horror story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel because the next story will be even more terrifying.